major update is making waves across the country right now, one that could potentially impact tens of millions of Americans, especially those struggling to stay afloat in today's challenging economy. Reports have surfaced that former President Donald J. Trump is pushing forward a proposal that could send out stimulus-style rebate checks ranging from $1,000 to $2,000 to millions of citizens. These payments, which Trump refers to as a dividend to the people, are said to come directly from the tariff revenues collected under his administration. In essence, it's being presented as money returned to the American people, funded not by new taxes or borrowing, but from the tariffs placed on foreign imports. With inflation continuing to squeeze household budgets and many families relying on discounts and Black Friday deals just to afford groceries, this announcement has captured national attention. Before diving deeper into this unfolding story, I want to welcome everyone to Truth Lens, the channel dedicated to uncovering the truth behind the headlines and exploring how major political and financial moves affect real Americans, especially our nation's seniors who depend on Social Security and fixed incomes to survive. Here on Truth Lens, we cut through the noise, look at the real data, and break down the policies shaping your financial reality. Every story we cover is designed to empower you with facts and clarity during uncertain times. Now, let's get into what's really going on with this reported Trump stimulus or tariff rebate check. Multiple outlets have reported that President Trump has been discussing the idea of issuing checks of $1,000 to $2,000 to Americans earning $100,000 or less per year. The proposed funds would come directly from the hundreds of billions collected through tariffs imposed on foreign nations since his time in office. According to Trump, these tariffs have already generated immense revenue, and he claims they could eventually reach over $1 trillion annually. In a recent interview, he described this plan as a dividend to the American people, suggesting that citizens deserve to benefit from the financial gains these trade measures have produced. At first glance, it might sound too good to be true. After all, stimulus checks haven't been seen since the pandemic years. But with inflation at record highs, many Americans say such financial support is desperately needed. The cost of groceries, housing, and health care continues to climb faster than wages or benefits can keep up. For millions of seniors and low-income Americans, even basic nutrition has become unaffordable. Analysts have pointed out that Americans are now waiting for Black Friday deals not to buy televisions or electronics like before, but simply to afford groceries and daily essentials. That shift says everything about the financial strain currently facing households across the country. Adding to this pressure, the Supreme Court recently allowed Trump's team to pause full SNAP, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, payments, which means millions who depend on food stamps or EBT cards are temporarily left without their expected benefits. Reports indicate that roughly 42 million Americans rely on SNAP assistance to buy food every month, and the interruption of those benefits has caused deep anxiety among struggling families. For seniors on fixed incomes, the absence of this support has been devastating. Many are already deciding between food, rent, and medication. Now, with no clear timeline for SNAP payments to resume, the hardship is even greater. This situation raises critical questions. If tariff revenue is pouring in, as Trump claims, why can't that money be used to fund SNAP benefits or provide emergency relief to low-income Americans? According to policy insiders, the administration's pause on SNAP payments and the potential rollout of these tariff rebate checks could be part of a larger political strategy, a way to redirect funds while placing pressure on lawmakers to act. Some experts believe this move could serve as both an economic and political statement to show that America's tariff policies have generated surplus revenue, and that those dollars could now be returned to the people directly instead of being tied up in federal programs. Still, many observers find it troubling that the most vulnerable Americans, especially seniors and low-income families, are once again caught in the middle of political gamesmanship. For those living on limited Social Security checks, every missed benefit, every delayed payment, and every rise in grocery prices is felt immediately. Across the nation, retirees who once lived comfortably on their monthly benefits now find themselves rationing food, skipping medical treatments, or turning to local food banks for survival. It's a heartbreaking reality in what is supposed to be one of the wealthiest countries in the world. When asked what he intends to do with the massive amount of tariff money, Trump stated that his top priority would be to pay down the national debt, which currently stands at more than $37 trillion. However, he added that after addressing debt reduction, he would also consider distributing a portion of these funds directly to the American people. Calling it a dividend, Trump emphasized that these payments could serve as both a gesture of goodwill and a demonstration of economic strength. According to his estimates, the checks could total between $1,000 and $2,000 per person, with the potential to reach tens of millions of Americans if enacted. For many analysts, this proposal arrives at a politically strategic moment. With inflation dominating headlines, consumer confidence weakening, and political tensions running high, a direct payment could be a powerful tool for restoring faith in leadership. Supporters argue that returning tariff revenue to citizens would not only stimulate spending, but also reinforce the message that trade policies are working in favor of American households. Critics, however, warn that the timing and intent behind the proposal may be more political than practical, designed to regain popularity rather than to resolve systemic issues. While this debate unfolds, the everyday reality for America's seniors remains unchanged. Prices continue to rise faster than Social Security's cost of living adjustments can compensate. Rent, utilities, and prescription drugs are consuming larger shares of monthly checks, leaving little left for basic needs. Many older Americans are living on less than $1,800 a month, trying to stretch every dollar just to keep the lights on. For those who also depend on SNAP, the recent disruption in benefits is a devastating blow. The promise of a possible $1,000 or $2,000 check sounds encouraging, but for those struggling right now, even waiting another month feels unbearable. Beyond the politics, this issue highlights the broader economic struggle that millions of Americans, especially seniors, face every day. These are men and women who have worked their entire lives, paid into the system faithfully, and now find themselves living on the edge of poverty. Inflation has turned what was once a comfortable retirement into a constant balancing act. Groceries that cost $50 just a few years ago now total $90 or more. Utility bills have risen, rents are climbing, and medical premiums continue to inch upward. For many seniors, there is no room left in the budget for even a small emergency, let alone the ongoing shock of higher living costs. If Trump's proposed dividend ever becomes reality, it could provide temporary relief, especially for those depending solely on Social Security or supplemental security income. But as of now, what's certain is that the conversation has reignited hope for some and skepticism for others. Whether viewed as a genuine economic initiative or a political maneuver, it has drawn attention to the one truth no one can deny. Millions of Americans are suffering under the weight of inflation and rising living costs. For the elderly who helped build this nation, the struggle to make ends meet shouldn't be their reward after decades of hard work. Yet, that is the reality for far too many seniors cutting pills